welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at gods5minutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. Isaiah, the man who was perhaps Israel's greatest prophet, wrote in Isaiah 66:2, "To this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word." The ancient patriarch has long been in his tomb, but the means of approaching God is eternal, unweathered by the years that have come to stand between his day and ours. So any person who cares to have loving glances from the Lord, this message is crucial. So let's take a look at it. Isaiah 66 is the end of a series of messages foretelling events of the future, things which were certain to occur after Isaiah had closed his ministry. His prophecies foretold the destruction of the Jewish nation, which happened under Nebuchadnezzar, of the captivity of Babylon, and touched on many other events stretching over 700 years to the coming of the Messiah, the foundation of the Christian church, the call to the Gentiles, and the second destruction of Jerusalem, which would be at the hand of the Romans, and even to God's final judgment day. The 66th chapter of Isaiah is the book's final chapter. Its language is the wild, mysterious poetry so characteristic of those Old Testament authors, and it closes with grand, tremendous visions which stretch endlessly into a future which without these biblical insights must remain unknown even as it unfurls before us. So what's to learn from this verse? We can grasp part of Isaiah's intent by reading a few verses up before it. "Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is a house that ye build unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For all these things hath mine hand made." These scriptures imply there is nothing here on earth we can give the Lord that is worth anything to him. St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, the Grand Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, or Washington National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., although demonstrating some of the best artistic design of which humans are capable, really only amount to rearranging building blocks God has already provided. While people may worship in such places, it would be insulting to the Lord for us to presume we are capable of providing his houses. What, in fact, do we really have to offer him that he isn't already his? But he has himself provided the answer. Between the time of Isaiah and Jesus, between the time of Jesus' earthly ministry and his final call to bring those who have lived on his world to answer for how they have handled it, he has clearly told us the things that he cannot, no, will not provide for himself. He wants our hearts. Yours and mine, brother. There was in Isaiah's day and always will be a way to cause God to look at us in our times of deepest need for his glances. His promise is immutable. It is absolutely dependable. It has nothing to do with how much money one may give to charity, what one's class or gender or race may be, standing in society, parental lineage, or cultural background. To this man will I look, and that means every single time. You can bring God close by having a poor spirit. The word means, among other things, to have a right to the gleanings after harvest is complete. It is the avenue the Syrophoenician woman used to touch the master. It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. Truth, Lord. Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. A contrite spirit is one in which all sense of pride and self-sufficiency has been completely humbled by the stern consciousness of guilt. How can we feel arrogant before the Lord when our very conduct proves how incapable we have been of keeping ourselves from unwholesome and soul-defiling behavior? We don't need tremendous buildings, although sometimes they're nice to have. What we need is to come before the Lord and humble our hearts, ask him to be our guide, admit our failures, ask his pardoning grace into our souls. We need to be afraid of violating his laws. If we obey these simple things, no matter what the unfolding years may hold, we shall have Emmanuel with us. Have you talked to God today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at godsfiveminutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.